Almost looks like a bone. What does that resemble? I'm thinking of something and I can't remember. We used to be big fossil hunters, rock hounders when my kids were little. I was the instigator. Let's go rock hounding. Let's go fossil hunting. Let's go dig some geodes up out of the desert. Look at that. Wow, one grow bag produces a lot of sunchokes. Just keep track of them. You do need to take care of them quickly when you harvest them. Storing them just open, they'll start to rot, get soft and all that. So just keep them in soil until you're ready, or put them in sand. That helps a lot. Refrigerate them in sand, but you can't have it too moist. It's just weird. It needs to be moist, but not too moist. I would keep them in sand outside in the ground, in a grow bag, protected from animals somehow. If you've got a problem where you might have animals digging up all your stuff. And then just sift your soil, because again, you will find all kinds of little teeny tubers. It has the texture of like a water chestnut. It doesn't really taste like a potato. It's hard to compare it to a potato. To me, it's more like a water chestnut, and it does give you gas. It's known for that. But you can prevent gas from kale and sunchokes and other gaseous type foods if you chew your food and if you cut it up into small pieces. So it helps because there's more surface area for you to digest this stuff instead of having it in big chunks and then your body has to figure out how to process it. So cut up your kale, massage your kale with some oil or whatever. If you have small pieces, that will help. And the same thing for this. Cut it up, shred it up. That helps. And also fermenting it is good. That helps to reduce the gas-producing enzymes, I guess. If you want to have a continuous supply of sunchokes year after year, just reuse the soil. It makes sense. Reuse the soil that you grew them in. Condition that soil. Recondition your potting soil by putting in alfalfa pellets, compost, leaf mold, even food scraps. I know that sounds a little crazy, but it depends. If it's going to go the whole winter and you're not going to have anything planted in there, but have your remnant sunchokes that maybe you missed, it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of food scraps in there mixed in. Nothing like, fish or meat, just veggies. Worm castings. I do compost with worms heavily, and so I can put some worm castings in there and amend the soil. And then you'll automatically get sunchokes the next year. They'll just pop up on their own time. No worries. It's like plug and play. You don't have to time it. You don't have to start seed. Pretty neat. So harvest what you can, and don't be too worried about being perfect. Put all the stuff back in the grow bag. And keep that grow bag in a place where you'll have okay drainage. You don't want to stick it somewhere, obviously, where it's going to have water pooling. And then you're good to go. No way you'll ever have to order sunchokes online. My first sunchokes that I bought, that I first planted, were from the grocery store in Texas. I no longer live in Texas. I planted those in my yard. Pretty soon, they were popping up everywhere. That's when I learned. And I read up on it. I knew, but I thought, I can control it. Almost impossible to control sunchokes when you plant them in the ground. So be careful. And what I'm going to have to do, look at how little that is. I'm going to have to make sure when I put the soil back in the grow bag that I capture all of the soil and maybe some underneath, because I don't want any rogue little nuggets surviving. Or maybe I do want them, right? As long as I put it back in the grow bag, I'm good to go. All right, well, there's more. There's always more. Just when you think you've harvested them all, you keep looking and guaranteed, yes, a few more will pop up. Look at that little one. That's what I mean. That tiny thing can grow into a huge patch of sunchokes. Now, I might as well just leave that there because I'm going to put it back in the grow bag so that I grow them again. And I would put them in a place where it gets full sun. Because they're in a grow bag, you need to water them every once in a while. When you see leaves drooping, suffering, water the bag. Doesn't have to be a perfect timed watering system. And we get a lot of rain here, but sometimes we have times where it doesn't rain for a long time, so I have to pay attention. I don't do a great job at that, but these survive just fine, being ignored the entire growing season. This season I ignored my garden quite a bit because I have a new business venture. I'm experimenting, and I created a gourmet food line. I'm presenting that at the Virginia Beach Convention Center over Black Friday weekend. Wow, what What a crazy thing I did. I will tell you more about it. I just feel like in social media, I don't know if people really care, but people post the craziest stuff. It will be a very good learning experience to see how someone came up with ideas for gourmet food products based on the ecosystem in which they live in. And they did everything. They did the marketing, they did the labels, they did the packaging. They're doing everything, just one person. Can it be done? Will I have enough inventory? Will I make all my money back? I think I'll start posting about that soon with tons of information about what it means to operate under the cottage food law. Okay, here's a great example of how they're attached. Look at all the roots coming from just one plant. There are a lot of sunchokes in this bag. So yeah, grow bags, highly recommended. That is so neat the way that grew. Look at that. And reusing the soil, here's a good example of a tiny little thing. If this remained in your soil and you reused it, put it somewhere else in your garden, you will have not just one, it will spread. You'll have so many. And by the way, seedlings of sunchokes look like zinnia seedlings. That makes it really complicated, especially because I love to grow zinnias and I can't tell if the zinnias are popping up or the sunchokes are popping. Just wait until they start to die down. They flower like a sunflower. You can see there's a lot of flower heads here. Many more flowers than like a single sunflower. One thing I can say with confidence is that if you grow Jerusalem artichokes, aka sunchokes, in open land, they will run 30 or more feet. I've lived in different places and I planted some, made the mistake of planting that in open ground. Look at that, that's a long root. So sunchokes are wonderful because they have a low glycemic index. You can grate them, make them into hash browns. You do need to wash them well, kind of scrub them up, don't need to peel. And they're wonderful for people that are worried about their blood sugar. You can also ferment them. I've fermented them before, made some wonderful pickles. They taste great, really great for the microbiome. So sunchokes, just don't plant them in open ground unless you have a lot of land and you want to use them as a windbreak. Now the task of cleaning begins. With a scrub brush. You can put them in water too, that helps. Put them in a big bowl of water, that helps to loosen up the soil and the cracks and crevices, and brush under the water. It's actually a huge difference if you do it that way. Just do it quick. You don't want to soak them too long. And this is if you're going to use them. If you're not going to use them, put them in sand and put them in a cool, dark place. That way you can maybe keep their texture for longer periods of time. But I'm going to shred these up and chop them up and probably use them the next couple weeks. I'll saute them. I'll make hash browns out of them. I might even pickle or ferment some of these sunchokes.